this is Rumor, and I have been invited by the lovely Marlena Teresa to participate in her new tag, Playing Barbies with My Decks. How fun does that sound? And because this is in the spirit of playing with decks and dolls, I am hunkered down on my floor here because where else would I play with my toys? So, in any case, to explain this tag, as far as I best understand it, Marlena's inspiration was from certain decks that she feels would be so much fun if the people in them were actual dolls. She can envision a collection made of them. And I know that like she's got really specific ideas too, as far as like size and other specs that she would love these dolls to have from her decks. So I have got to admit that I never thought of it that way looking at my decks. I can't say that I was working with the deck and thinking, I really wish I had a doll of this. But in light of this idea, going through all of my decks, I was easily able to amass like a dozen of them that I thought would be great candidates for dolls. And I thought I would approach this as kind of my own personal journey with dolls, being that I'm really not a big doll collector. First and foremost, I was a stuffed animal kid. That is definitely what I primarily had as a child, because dolls, quite frankly, creeped me out. But it isn't to say that I didn't own dolls as a kid, and I certainly do own dolls now as an adult. It is something I am more recently getting more into, much to my own surprise and delight though. It's really fun. So I'm glad that I actually do have some dolls that I can show today, but nowhere near probably what Marlena and others doing this tag will probably have on hand. But for starters though, before I go back to the beginning of my journey with dolls, I thought I would kick things off with the first tarot deck to pop to mind when Marlena first pitched this tag idea, because I thought it's so obvious. It's so obvious. If there were a deck that I would want a doll collection to be made from, obviously it's Insomnia, right? Who are we kidding here? This is a no-brainer. And the best thing about this deck is that we don't have to wait and hope for it to become a doll collection. This is such an easy thing to DIY. You just simply take an existing doll in your collection or buy one cheaply, maybe get one secondhand, have a little fabric, a bit of twine and rope, and bada boom, bada bing. You got yourself a Insomnia doll. Who's taking me seriously at this point? Who's taking me seriously? I love you if you are, but I am just kidding. I am just kidding. To get serious about this now, I actually have come up with 10 general categories of doll/toy that I have owned, and I feel I need to begin with the one that is the most prevalent in my collection growing up and now. And that would be the stuffed animal category, especially pandas, I loved them so as a kiddo. I still do now. And this particular one was a recent gift to me from a very dear friend. How adorable is it with its bamboo? Get a good look at that face there. It looks so happy, and it makes me happy. So this little guy hangs out with me in my office here. So the deck that I would love to be made into a stuffed animal collection would have to be The Way of the Panda. This deck is so freaking adorable. And this would actually also be an easy one to DIY. You basically could just buy up a bunch of stuffed animal pandas and then just add the little headwear and other accessories that can be found in this deck. There's a lot of crowns and like flower crowns, some ties and bow ties. But look how adorable. We've got scarves. Some of them have these unicorn horns. It's really, really cute. So there's, yes, a bunch of accessories in here. Pirate would be very easy to replicate. Got some sunglasses on them as well. But what would be even more fun with this collection is the fact that the way this deck is set up, it has this guidebook, the book of pandas. And every panda in here has been given an identity. There are a lot of pandas in here that have names, and we get little stories of them individually and how they interact with the other pandas, and they all have their little lessons to teach us. So this guidebook is so much fun. It is so cute the way that it's told. And I just think, well, here's an example. Unlike the Fresh Newbie Fire Pandas, Striker, has a fur ton of experience. So there's a panda named Striker. So they have these little identities. So based on how they appear in the card, you could have a stuffed animal representing each one of them, almost like a Care Bear collection. So I think it would be really, really fun for playtime to have a stuffed animal panda collection like that. Now, I don't have an example here to show, but probably I would guess that the earliest doll that I owned was a Holly Hobbie. And I'm guessing it was probably a hand-me-down from my sister. But then eventually I was given my own Holly Hobbie day and night. And I do remember having that and liking it very much because you could convert her from her little prairie dress to a nightgown and her eyes would close. So thinking of a Holly Hobbie type doll now that's like of the cloth variety and just thinking of her little prairie style outfits, I think a really fun deck as a doll collection in the style of Holly Hobbie would actually be the Dreaming Way Tarot. Maybe not this outfit specifically, but I'm thinking of like some of these billowy dresses, kind of nightgowny that we see throughout the deck. I just think the fashion in this deck is so much fun, and actually it would probably be really fun on a Blythe type doll as well. I mean, definitely something where the fashion is actual fabric, not something molded from plastic. And I just think it would be so much fun. And with the rosacea that everyone seems to have in this deck, all these little blushes, I don't know if they're timid or if they're just blushing because they're embarrassed that they have rosacea. I don't know what the case is, but I could just see that little like bit of blush on the fabric face of a Holly Hobbie type doll, and these dresses and such just translating really well to that. And I would love to see some wool knits in the mix there too. So that would be my reinvention of a Holly Hobbie fabric type doll, would be with Dreaming Way fashions. Now, since this tag is playing Barbies with my decks, I would absolutely be remiss to not bring in Barbie as category 3. This is probably the next type of doll that I would have owned as a kid. Not this one. This is the one I bought for myself as a grown-ass adult. So this is my adult Barbie, but as a kid, I had the Barbie Pink and Pretty, and she was my only Barbie, and I don't know where she is now, if she would still be stored away at home or not. But anyway, when it comes to Barbie and decks, the first one to come to my mind is Tarot of Divine Feminine. I believe this is a Lo Scarabeo deck. Mine is trimmed. I trimmed off all the borders and titles. And when I talk about this deck, every time I mention that I took off the tarot titles because I actually use it as an oracle deck based purely on the imagery. And there's a lot of figures found in here of the divine feminine throughout mythology, theology. See some deities, biblical characters and such. But anyways, I remember when I first purchased this deck, because I don't know, I find it to be a kind of quirky one. There's something about it that can just kind of make me laugh. And one of the criticisms I saw in reviews was the Barbie bodies. And there are a lot of naked Barbie bodies to be found in here. And let's be real, most Barbies do end up naked at some point. I think we all did that as little kids at some point or other, little pervs that we were. But anyways, so obviously this deck I think would be set up really well to become a Barbie collection. But I specifically, I front loaded the ones that I like best. I like some of these badass figures here. I would love personally dolls of some of these, like Medusa. You've got, I think these are the Furies. I know that there are some Harpies in here, which would be interesting, that body. But some Egyptian lore, Greek and Roman. Anyways, I think that these would be really cool. These two in particular, I would love, love, love to have. And in that vein, I actually think that not just as a Barbie, but I might enjoy them as an action figure, like my She-Ra here. And gosh, how big is this one? Is this 8 inches, would you say? This is one of the reimagined figures of this He-Man She-Ra universe that Mattel created. As you can see, she's wearing this sort of helmet that She-Ra wouldn't have had in the cartoons, but pretty traditional outfit though otherwise. But these have articulated joints so that you can pose them really well, and I've got mine in defensive mode. This is boundary setting mode for me. But anyways, I just think that some of these like more dynamic, fierce feminine figures in here would be absolutely kick-ass as an 8-inch action figure like this. And actually, as I measure her, she's closer to 7 inches. So anyways, but with the full articulation of figures, which I guess the new Barbies have now too. So either way, I would take that collection. But where Barbie goes, that's right. I'm going to say this. I'm going to put this out there and people are going to hate me for it. But I think I would love a Barbie collection of the Tarot of Curious Creatures. Oops. Come on, who's with me? Who's with me? Tell me this wouldn't be fun. Tell me this wouldn't be fun. Barbie bodies with animal heads. And all the fun fashions to be found in here. You guys, you know you want this. You know you want this. You know that I'm going to pitch this to Mattel, and this is how I'm going to make my millions. But okay, maybe I'm absolutely creeping you out, whether you're with me or against me on this one. I think this would be awesome. I love this deck. I am here for it. For these particular animal heads on these particular bodies, I think this deck is so well done, and this would be so adorable. And just like mix and match the clothing options here. Again, they would have to be real fabric for me to fully appreciate this. It's cute, like crochet dress. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And for the skin tones of the doll to fit the animal as they do in this deck, I just think this would be an absolute hoot. I would collect this. If not in its entirety, I would definitely like single out my top faves and do it, which would probably be where I started. Well, I mean, how fun. I really love this zebra and this wolf and this raven. So anyways, I want this deck to be dolls. I said it, It is documented here. You may throw it back in my face whenever you please. And if I have totally grossed you out with that, bear in mind, I did not ask for animal bodies with human heads. I did not ask for a collection like this, which would be inspired by the Tarot Volatile. Please, no one make this. No one make this. Leave it to the neighbor kid in Toy Story who dismembers and reassembles toys in all sorts of hideous creations. No one wants this. The next type of doll I would have had as a kid, just like I had one Barbie, I had one Cabbage Patch Kid. Her name was Bethany Marita. She had red hair in braids, and I loved her. I did, right down to her Xavier Roberts tattoo on her butt. So I'm actually not asking for a Cabbage Patch Kid collection to be made from any decks. I really don't feel I personally need that, but because I feel like I had to include that as a category of doll that I would have owned, and still do, I still have my Cabbage Patch Kid at my mom's house. If I had a deck that I think could be a Cabbage Patch, I think it's the Anna Kay. I think that's the only type of doll these people could be. And I don't know if I'm picking very good examples here or not. I didn't really put these in any kind of order, but you know, all these like apple-cheeked, mostly smiling people. Let's find a good example here. Well, okay, they look kind of somber, but I don't know. I just see them doing really well, incarnated as Cabbage Patch Kids. But like I said, this isn't the collection that I want or I'm asking for. But to see a bunch of Cabbage Patch Kids with like period clothing like this, that'd be pretty fun too. So I don't know, maybe someone out there would want that, but that's my contribution. Like I said, I could not leave my Cabbage Patch Kid out. But please, no, I'm not asking for this. Please, no one customize this for me. So then because I really wasn't that into dolls, I really had to rack my brain for another category, but I definitely played with paper dolls as a kid. Do you know what I'm talking about? I mean, literally cut out of paper, and they had the clothing with the little tabs on it. I loved paper dolls, and I think the Housewives Tarot would be fan-freaking-tastic as paper dolls. Wouldn't it be fun? Just the kitschy cuteness of this, the fun with 1950s style clothing, boys, girls, men, and women alike. I just think it would be a hoot. This deck makes me think of paper dolls. And maybe it is like the collage style of it, where things are kind of disproportioned. They've got these big heads that kind of look like things were pieced together and layered on each other, as paper dolls are. But let me see if I can get into some cuter fashions here. So, you know, yeah, Housewives Tarot, give me the book of paper dolls for this, please. And lest I forget, again, from my youth, there were the pair of Mexican marionette dolls that one of my older brothers bought me in Tijuana. So he's 10 years older than I am. He was probably either in college or just graduated. So I was probably like pre-teen, teen when he gave these things to me. And I don't have any actual images of the puppets that I owned, but I remember that one was a woman and she was kind of cute, but the other one was a clown. That's just me and older brother. But Again, I don't know if these are still at my mom's house somewhere or if she would have gifted them to a grandchild or something. I have no clue what their whereabouts are now, but if I can find sample images on the internet of what they were like. So yeah, so I had these marionettes, and yeah, they really did creep me out, but they were fun to play with and everything, and so I guess it kind of counts as a doll, right? I mean, it is something that I would have had. So while I didn't thoroughly love those, and I'm not too concerned about their whereabouts at this time, I would love the marionette collection of the Santa Muerte Tarot. I think these would be amazing. I love the skeletons in this deck. Their clothing is so vibrant and beautiful. My marionettes had these just basic straw sombreros, but the ones in here are so colorful and beautiful and could be made of different materials. So, I honestly, if you could just get me a skeleton marionette that looked just like one of these, I just think it'd be amazing. Love this deck. Would love those marionettes. But while we're talking puppets, I do own a pair now as an adult, not marionettes, but my husband and I purchased these two in Indonesia several years ago. And they are controlled with these sticks that can move their arms. Their heads do swivel, as they're not now as I try to demonstrate it, but yeah, there we go. And actually I left the tags on them to remember the story of what they would be used for. So this one is Queen Shinta. She is the wife of King Rama and well known as a beautiful and loyal figure. Her beauty attracted King Ravana as bad side to kidnap and take her to Kingdom Lanka. So yes, that king is the villain of this story. But these were very common puppets that we saw. They also were presented as shadow puppets. But here is King Rama. He's the main person in the Ramayana story. His wife Shinta or Shita was kidnapped by a cruel giant, King Ravana or Dasamukha, 10 faces. So here is her beloved. So I just apologize the angle I've got my camera at here, that I'm just kind of staring at them from above. But the deck that I would love to see as puppets in the vein of these is Tarot of the Cat People. Another amazing deck that I love so very much. And these people, the cat people, look fabulous. Look at the designs of their clothing. I mean, the costuming in this deck, gorgeous. So the exoticism of it is what made me right away think of these puppets. And again, they have actual fabric, they have actual beading to them, and that's how I would want these to be. I want to see this clothing as actual textiles. I want the texture and the glitter of it all. And they, of course, could come equipped with any props that any of these figures are holding. I think out of necessity, there would have to be kitties involved here too. Whether they would be a little plush companion or of the same making. I think these are wood. But yes, you would absolutely have to have the cats also in tandem with the cat people. But I just think this would make for a stunning collection. I would love, 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 love to see these outfits in person. And like the Book of Pandas, there is this traveler's report that you can get separately from the deck. I guess if you can find it secondhand. I don't think it's in print any longer. I found this for a pretty reasonable price though. But this like describes all the world building that went into this deck, the identities of each of these people, the lands that they are from. It is fully fleshed out. So I could see them lending themselves so well to having a whole play written out that could be performed, a whole puppet show of the cat people and their cats. And I love them. I would love them as puppets too, just for that fact of like the movement. I just see these people as very active and dynamic, and the puppeteering would really bring that out and make them that much more alive. So entertaining, so stunning this would be. And this could be the villain of that story. Cool, right? Yeah, so please, please, please give me the puppets of the cat people. So I kind of jumped the gun on this next category, which would be action figures, of which I have two, and both of them are She-Ra. And here you can see in proportion, if I said this was 7 inches, what, is she about 5.5 maybe? I'm really bad at gauging this stuff. Obviously, I'm not an aficionado. I mean, people who are proper collectors know every dimension, but that would be my rough guess. But anyways, she's made in the style of what the original Mattel She-Ra doll would have been like in the 80s, but I mean, she's a much better version of what we had in the 80s. That being said, they do have one of those out there too that's more similar to the original, and I kind of want to get her too. I feel like why not just complete that collection? But yeah, she's like a modernized version, but she's of the size, and she has articulated joints, which I don't believe the original would have had. And then again, this is like that further re-envisioned one that just is so absolutely badass. So anyways, these are my She-Ra dolls. They live on my Buffy shrine for lack of anywhere else to put them, but I think that they've got big Buffy energy, so it's working for me for right now. But will they stand? I'm just gonna lay them down. But anyways, so I said that I think for like this larger type of action figure, these like badass women in the Tarot of Divine Feminine would be amazing, and this would be the one animal body with human head that I'd be okay with. And actually it's a whole human torso here, but I think a harpy doll would be pretty cool. This doesn't disturb me nearly as much as this. Just to call that back too. But anyways, but for this smaller action figure, I think it would be so much fun, just as a tarot enthusiast, to have action figure embodiment of the feminine energy of the tarot, but specifically the tattoo tarot. And I am talking about our queens. Can we see it? Can we just see an action figure like this being one of these badass queens? I just think that'd be so awesome. Here's wands, cups, coins. She's not my favorite, but she'd have to be included too. And I've got the Empress here, who's basically the major arcana embodiment of all of these queens, right? And look, she has wings, so she would be such a cool one to have too. She'd almost be like the sorceress of the He-Man She-Ra collection. And optional, I also had here, there could be the star who could double as the world, like just have it tattooed and then just have these, the swath of fabric to wrap around her, because she looks pretty cool as hell too. And you definitely have to have the tattoos. Tattoos mandatory. So yeah, give me the Queens and Empress at least from the Tattoo Tarot as an action figure. So I've now lifted out of my past, you know, into my present at this point, as of those puppets and as of these action figures that I did not have as a kid. I bought these fairly recently in the last year or two. So now we're getting into the dolls that I actually own now, and what I probably have the most of, at least as far as, you know, figures go. Funko Pop vinyl. The majority of such that I own are Buffy. So here's Buffy, and here's Buffy, here's Giles, and here's Spike, and here's Spike, and here's Spike. These are my more recent acquisitions. 1979 Spike and vamped out Spike. Technically, I do also have a Doctor Who Weeping Angel. The first and only Doctor Who episode I've ever seen, to be quite honest. And technically, I also have a Scarecrow from Nightmare Before Christmas, but that is packed away with my Halloween decor, so I don't have it on hand to show now, but that would make up the whole of my pop vinyl collection. But focusing on the Buffy of it all, I bring in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer Tarot. This is the jumbo version, because why the hell not? What else am I going to use this particular gigantic deck for? I can't say. It's one of those things where I just wanted to be a completist with the collection. I also have the regular sized and the mini, but here we go, jumbo version, because I know these big ass pictures will show up well on camera. Buffy pop vinyls, the cast of characters, a lot of them already are represented in this format. So I guess that's not asking for anything new. But not all characters are. There might be some that aren't represented. I don't think I've seen a Tara, for example. Oh, I don't think there's been a Drusilla. Has there? Yeah. Give me all of the Buffy cast as pop vinyl. Give me all of the Buffy cast as action figures. Give me all of the Buffy cast as Barbies, as freaking puppets for that matter. Give me the Buffy cast as any doll for that matter. Not at all limited to this category. I want it. Oh my gosh, Sanea would be so cool as one of these. Yeah. So yeah, I would take any type of doll. And as we know already, Angel makes for a good puppet. Oh, I need more Spike. So yeah, and okay, I'm saying this knowing that there have been Buffy action figures and other types of figurines out there. I've definitely seen people customize dolls as Buffy. Oh my God, a Kendra doll, that'd be awesome. I don't think we have any Kendra. There is a Faith pop vinyl out there. But again, I think that they would be really cool as other dolls, like an action figure too, that would have them more proportioned as well. And I know I'm saying that's something that does already exist. But you know what doesn't exist and would be a really fun DIY? To bring in category number 9 here, as far as the type of doll that I own. Here is my little sweet pea, my American Girl doll. She is modeling her Fun in the Southwest outfit for you. as designed by American Girl. I just thought it was fun. I have mentioned before that this doll, I purchased it basically to be a mini-me, but I mean, let's face it, we do not really have the same hair color or eye color, but we're both brunettes, and she does predominantly dress like me, but I do also want her to have her own identity. And what I'm learning about her so far is that she has a penchant for Southwest fashion. But anyways, speaking of American Girl, there is, I'm gonna lay her down, and she's gonna go to sleep. And Giles is gonna watch over her to make sure that Spike does not bite her. How's that? Is this okay? Very weird way to present this, I know. But anyway, so I wish I could like trademark this idea, somehow protect it as my own intellectual property, but you're welcome to take it. But I have this dream of getting an American Girl to be my Biddy Buffy. So if like this is my mini-me, I want a Biddy Buffy, and I know which doll it would be. So in the historical doll collection at American Girl, they have the 1999 twins. Blonde, green-eyed American Girl doll, Isabel, would be my choice if I were to customize a Buffy doll. And I haven't identified a ton of outfits that would identify her as such just yet, but I do already have a leather coat. So if I could find that white gown, this one in Prophecy Girl, and then get a little crossbow, I would love to recreate this outfit. I have denim overalls to recreate the overalls of sadness, which the Buffering podcast community has named the overalls that Buffy wears at the end of season 2, and she tends to wear those overalls when she's a bit vulnerable and sad. So anyways, that is sort of a plan that I've got down the road, and there are a couple of 90s outfits, obviously, that American Girl already sells for this doll that at least keeps her within that time frame. I'd say it's Y2K more than the 90s perhaps, but certainly late 90s going into the noughties. Perfect timing for Buffy. And the meat outfit that Isabel comes in is obviously inspired by Cher in Clueless, which I also just love. So, yeah, I've got my second doll that I have ordered and will bring back with me the next time I am in the US of A. I'm going to keep her as a secret, but I promise I will share her with you when I get back. But if I were to get a third doll, I'm just saying Biddy Buffy is a strong possibility. So yeah, so I also think obviously it would be very fun to have an American Girl collection based on Buffy. If only there were a peroxide blonde boy doll that I could make into Spike. That would be hilarious. I was even looking at this one. She could be my Cordelia if came down to it. Okay, so that's my categories 8 and 9, the pop vinyls and American Girl doll. I would like a Buffy collection of that. And while I'm talking Buffy, how could I not focus in on Drusilla on the topic of dolls? As you may know from the Fool for Tarot deck that I created in homage to Spike, I made Drusilla my high priestess, and in representing her, used a doll that is gagged. Sometimes they are blindfolded. So this could be another DIY project if you wanted. Just buy up an old-fashioned type doll like this, gag them, blindfold them, you know, mix it up, have fun with it. But I think that would be a really fun collection to have too. I mean, honestly, when I made this card, it kind of made me want to get a doll like this just so I could make her Miss Edith. But getting down to my final category, I don't have this doll as yet, but a lovely friend absolutely surprised me with a doll she has customized for me to also be a mini me. And it is in the style of Blythe. I believe it's an imitation Blythe doll, but definitely of that aesthetic. And I am just over the moon. And so again, this is something that was shipped to my mom's house. And so I will bring it back with me after my next trip to the States, and we'll definitely share more about her and show her off when I have her, because I'm so excited to meet her, So getting excited about this Blythe-like doll, like I just realized that Blythe is another type of doll, or anything along the lines of that is actually something I'm drawn to. And I know it's not everyone's thing. And I mean, and dolls in general are not necessarily my thing. I still see a lot of types of them that really creep me out, but I do like the Blythe. And I have seen the newer Dolly Mori Lolly dolls. I've got Night Bloom on my radar. She is currently sold out, but I love her and the little clothing collection that goes along with her so far. So I think that she's going to be a friend for my mini me that my friend has made for me, because they would be of the same size. So what is that, like 11 inches, I think? They're 28 centimeters, is that correct? I believe they're roughly the same dimension, those two types of dolls. And again, just kind of have that similar aesthetic. So I'm throwing that in as the last category here, and inspired by the gothic look of the Night Bloom and the very melancholy, morose expression of my mini me, I think it would be really fun to have a doll inspired by the horror tarot. And I hate that I cannot think of the artist's name right now. Abigail Larson. So much of what she does, this tarot deck and beyond, is of this Victorian Gothic aesthetic. So I would really love any number of the characters that she has drawn anywhere, ever. But just as a representation, I would just love that Gothic doll to have a dress akin to this. And of course, a change of outfits. I love this green. So beautiful. And have a long flowy gown like this for her nightwear. This could be her boyfriend. This could be her girlfriend. I love this Victorian carny look here. She would have articulated joints, including her neck, so she could have a severe broken neck look like that. That's essential. I don't even know if those dolls would even be capable of that. So maybe this would have to be more of a Barbie as well. I think there's some crossover here. Basically, I don't have super specific ideas for any of these dolls. I feel like, you know, give it to me in whatever form it would be best served. So if you have ideas, let me know in the comments. But this would be her mode of transportation, and she would have a creepy house, but not so much like the creepy cottage in the woods. I have to steal this from my Trick or Tarot deck. I would want more of this like style of Victorian house. It has like a widow walk at the top, you know what I'm saying? And windows like this, whether in the house or maybe there's like a private family chapel on the grounds, because of course there's going to be a graveyard on the grounds. There would have to be. So this is like a whole play set that I'm thinking of now, which I really didn't envision as much for any of the dolls that I've talked about so far. This one I want to come with the full play set. And I want her to have a coffin where she can sleep. That'll go in the bedroom or maybe just down in the basement. As accessories, she'd have to have the Ouija board. I love this lighting as well. Very much keeping in with this aesthetic with the melting candles too. Yes, if she could have a red glowing crystal ball. And this is kind of neat too. It's like on crow's feet here. Yeah, that'd be part of it. Yes, the candle holders and sticks aplenty. There should at least be like a pack of 10 that you can buy to just have these all over this house. You know, homewares, you should have like the dishware, like this goblet of blood. This could be like on the table, you know, for food. So yeah. And then maybe she has creepy dolls of her own. She could have a bunch of Drusilla type dolls. And yeah, that's kind of what I envisioned for her. And so, probably this whole deck would make for a really fun collection of dolls. And I'm saying that this could be fun for a Blythe, Dolly Mori type doll. I think there could also be like a Barbie sized version of it too. And as an honorable mention, because I brought up the trick or tarot, I can't deny that where seasonal dolls go, this would make for a really fun Halloween collection. And for this, I'm talking vintage kitsch all the way. I'm talking old like tin toys, the kind that they would have sold that you could probably, and kids probably did, cut their hands on and that probably rusted, but the kind you could like wind up and go. I think that these would make for delightful dolls and maybe stuffed animals depending on the creature depicted. But what I'm seeing is, if it's not like one of those tin toys, something in the vein of Eddie Munster's Wolfman doll, if you catch my drift. That is what this deck always makes me think of. Just that kind of old, tiny toy collection, and that would be an aesthetic I would love to put out for Halloween. I think that otherwise really old vintage dolls would really thoroughly creep me out. But for Halloween, like these little pumpkin guys, I would do it. I would do it. All these creepy type masks, a little doll like that. Oh, and here are my little skeleton marionettes that could be included, but I just think, yeah, it'd be so great. Totally in honor of, I'm sure, a lot of toys that actually do exist on the market, actually. So I'm certainly not creating anything new. That would be of all the like Hammer horror movies. Yeah, that stuff has got to be out there for sure. But I would just love all the accessories. I want the pumpkins, like this looks like a pumpkin piñata. I want the candy, any bits of accessories that are showing up in here. Gimme. So this is my honorable mention, just for like straight up nostalgic vintage kitsch. And again, that's out there, so perhaps it's something that I could try collecting. I'll let you know if that time ever comes. And that'll do it for playing Barbies with my decks, my dollies, and stuffed animals too. Thank you for popping by to play with them. And would like to hear in the comments what your ideas would be for tarot or oracle decks that could be made into dolls. If you also have a YouTube channel, you can do a video response yourself to Marlena Teresa's tag, playing Barbies with my decks. Either way, I so look forward to hearing your creative ideas. And again, can't thank you enough for indulging this big old kid at heart here. It's all in the spirit of play, and I hope you've enjoyed this. I look forward to hearing your thoughts as well. Bye-bye.